Morning, y'all. Look what has happened out here. It snowed. Yep, we have had snow. Not loads, but to be honest with you, that's quite a lot for us. Anyway, today we're going to spend the day with the Ping Crossover G410 iron. We're going to head to Dan's and get him to hit it, see what he thinks, and talk about what this iron could do or not for your golf game. Crossover G410 then, Dan, spending a day with. Initial looks of this one. So this one kind of blends a bit more with the G410 range in theory. What are your first initial thoughts of that, looking at it?
I think looking down at it, it looks identical to what I've just tested in the G410 irons.
So it would blend?
It'd blend lovely, yeah. That would be a perfect blend for that.
Hydro pearl face.
Love that. Absolutely.
Heavier toe. Well, we'll look at the details of it in a second. We're going to hit a few, see what it comes out like. I want to just see max heights and maybe compare it to a hybrid in a similar loft if you've got one kicking around as well. Yeah, we can do that. Just to show people who might game this, you know, what they get from it or not. But before we do that, let's go and check out the specs. The G410 Crossover, definitely more of an iron-based product, so it looks more irony, shorter blade length, less offset. The C300 miraging steel face to give you a bit more ball speed, bit thinner, bit more springy. Also an internal rib structure in here as well, helping with the correct sounds and feels that you should get from this face. We get a 30-gram tungsten weight in the toe. It's 50% more than we got on the G400 Ping, saying, trying to give this club and deliver a little bit more stability, helping with those MOI kind of readings. And like we see in nearly all Ping products at the moment, the Hydro Pearl finish. It's going to help water run off it more when you're trying to control out of those tricky lies where the course is always trying to take spin off you, just to try and kind of help you as much as possible with that unique finish that you only get in Ping clubs. So you've got the other crossover, the G400 crossover.
G400.
You've got to remember this isn't, it's a very different, isn't it?
Massively different sole. Look how thick that is compared to that one.
So this is one of different crossovers. This isn't the crossover. There's a few still on the range, so you still can get chunky ones as well. This is just the... It's trying to blend more with the iron, which is quite interesting because obviously the 410 irons really are known as very chunky, if you think about it. Yeah. But not as chunky as maybe they've gone in the past. But yeah, absolutely. Look at the difference there in chunk.
I think you're going to see a lot of the sort of lower handicaps, better player, should we say, wanting to maybe look at that certainly more than they would that.
Yeah, I would go that way as well, just for appearance.
But I could see that the size of that gives a lot of people a lot of confidence.
Yes, absolutely. So let's see what numbers you get from the G410. It's a 20°3 we're testing.
Okay, yeah.
What shaft's in that?
It's a Ping one. Alta CB
70S.
70-gram S. I'm assuming the 70 is. CB. Bit like my irons.
Someone will be happy that we've told them what shaft that is.
Yeah, it's nice though. I like that blend.
Do you? The colourways?
Sort of colour going into that Hydro Pearl look on top there.
Yeah.
That is, nice. They do well, don't they?
Decent strike?
Yeah, it feels good. It feels very similar, I would say. Maybe it's the sound. It sounds very similar to the other crossovers that I've tried in the past, you know?
Does it sound hollow or solid? If you know what I mean. I don't mean solid as in good or bad, as in physically solid.
I know what you're saying. I would say that they've kind of there's a happy balance with this one. Okay. I think it's not as hollow as I've felt in the past with certainly these sorts of clubs, but it's certainly not as what I would feel off a normal iron, should we say. That's the one.
What do you mean?
Now, I've had an issue with these clubs over time. Okay, not this one in particular. That's not fair. But these hollow construction irons. If I hit this high on the face, that ball dips.
Yeah.
I've seen it in tournaments. I've seen players that I'm playing with tee up, almost not knowing what they're doing really, almost teeing it too high, catching it off the top, and the ball literally just dips off the front of the tee.
Oh yeah, well the last one was a complete non-read.
Yeah.
Often when you get a non-reader like that, it's because it's such a funky number, it all gets a bit confused. So it actually hasn't got the spin number. I reckon would have gone like down in the 2000s. So I mean, if we look at your numbers there, your peak. Let's take the last one away. I'm going to delete shot 4 because it's not a full reading. So if we take the first 3 shots, look, your peak heighting at 35 yards, 37 your highest, averaging 200 carry.
Yeah.
Launching at 15 degree. If you got a 20 degree hybrid, and let's just get a comparison for people with ideas, because obviously the big decision here is, shall I use a hybrid or shall I use this? Let's hit a hybrid just to compare. Right, so we've gone tight this because we could crank it down with the neck to 20 degrees, same length.
Yeah, so 21 knocked it down a degree. So
yeah.
De-lofted it a degree, same length, same weight shaft, 70 gram.
You see what it does?
Let's see what it does.
So let's try 3 or 4 shots with the hybrid and see what difference we get out of it. So I'll ask you again then, Dan. Which one's going to go higher out of these two? That one's going to go higher.
My perception is this one will go higher, but after my recent telling off, I'm going to probably just say that we'll look at the numbers, shall we?
Right, let's see what the numbers bring. Again, you still feel like that one's going to go higher.
Should launch a bit higher.
Go higher? You would say yes, wouldn't you?
Say nothing.
I wouldn't say it was your straightest batch of test shots, and the red of the hybrid, you hit the crossover much closer.
Yeah.
Interesting that the hybrid went more left and the crossover was straight, slightly right. I would say, well, the hybrid is always going to be a bit more upright, where the crossover's a red dot, it's custom fit, it's that slightly flatter lie that we both like,
yeah.
Which I think is quite interesting. Now, the crossover, so you went same distance, 202 average with the hybrid.
Yeah.
Is that 200 on the bottom with the...
So yeah, 200 at the top here and 200 there.
So same distance.
Yeah.
You spun the hybrid more, 4.9 with the hybrid.
Yeah.
And then you were 4.6 with the crossover.
Yeah, I see that, yeah.
Which is quite interesting. Peak height. Well, I'm going to hit a few. I don't feel that good, which is why Dan's doing most of the hitting today. But I'm going to hit a few because I just think your numbers are just wild there. But your crossover is 35 yards peak height.
Yeah.
To your hybrid, which is 31.
What is the? Oh yeah. Yeah, I was going to say what's the
your
highest.
Your highest is 39 yards with the hybrid. So I think the hybrid would go further if you hit enough shots that weren't snap hooking way left. I'm going to hit a couple first, but at the moment, again, so also as well, the crossover is launched at 15.4 degrees to the hybrid, which is in the 12s above there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
12.3.
12.3.
So have you overridden anything there with your performance,
no.
or is that a pattern? Let's hit a few more. You on?
I'm on.
Oh my word.
You right?
I've got man flu bad. I do like the less offset on this. It's quite noticeable how much more of a plain looking iron this is. Oh, that was very average.
That's quite noisy.
Hit the line. Oh, hit the line.
You in the line, eh? You have hit the line.
Look at that.
Yeah.
I don't think that went very far though. A bit of mat was taken with me there. Definitely feels more solid, less hollow body to me.
It does, yeah?
Feels more like an iron than a hybrid.
Yeah.
Where the crossovers do have that ting to them normally. So I'm 192. Last one going 197, so you can see me getting slightly warmer there. Yeah. I'm 26 peak height, which makes more sense to me compared to your 35. I'd be around 30 max with this club.
Yeah.
So I'm going to hit now the 20 degree hybrid, and I am expecting it now to go higher personally. It's going to hit it pretty much the same way. I'm not going to try and change anything. So I am 191 with the crossover.
Yeah.
196 with the hybrid.
Okay.
Topping out at 204. Coming from a 15 degree launch to a 13 with the crossover.
Yeah.
and then a peak height of 31 with the hybrid, to 26 with the crossover.
So more realistic, more numbers that I would expect to see.
All day long, I would always put that there. Yeah. You got to remember, I'm a little bit of a sweeper, I'm a hybrid player.
Yeah.
I reckon if you did this test, say, with someone like Matt, you might not see such deviation because he doesn't adjust as well to the different disciplines of those clubs.
Yeah.
So he will try and bang a hybrid down a lot, where I'll turn to sweeping it more like a wood a bit more. So for me, I mean, if it comes to this club, I can see why people with high speeds, people who like the look of like an iron over a hybrid a bit more would go with this. And people who've got no problem getting the ball up in the air. My brain, just G410 says game improvement help pop the ball up in the air, and the crossover doesn't, so that's where I get a little bit lost.
Okay.
But I think as crossovers go, it's probably one of the nicest ones I've seen.
I think that'll appeal to a lot of good players.
Yeah, it blends better. It doesn't look quite so brutal as a crossover. I mean, this club is not for me. I'm always going to be a hybrid player for my style of play, but I would see this appealing to a lot of golfers. It's definitely less aggressive looking than the G400, as in because it does look more like an iron. It's an interesting one because, like I said, the G410 is definitely an iron that I would put in the game improvement options. This one looks more like a regular iron, where often people get to the free iron, really they're looking for as much help as they, you know, could possibly get out of a club. But with that more density weight in the toe, you're arguably going to get the same MOI ideas, but in a package that looks a little bit more appealing. Let me know, post comments down below, would you game it or not? Is it the kind of club you would use or not? I'd love to hear your thoughts. It certainly looks very good for a crossover.